Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another Quickview Redux, because today is already, you've been with me now for about 10 seconds, and today is already a day of best laid plans. This is the third set of tires down the list of tires that were supposed to be tested today, and it's the only one that I think can be tested today. This is, as said, a Redux, the RC4WD Drive Baja Claw TTC in X2SS. Definitely not suitable for a Quickview. This has to be a Redux. They have been mounted, they have been dedicated to a specific vehicle for well over a year now. They predate Baseline as the testing vehicle, so Baseline has never run these. They're on deep offset Enduro wheels. They are fitted with 3D printed inserts. And I would say, most importantly, like look at the shoulders. They've got the feather in all the way around the tire, and they are X2SS, which is more on to the exotic end of the compounds. So it does the thing that exotic compounds do. Like I said, they're about 20 months old. We're starting to see the beginnings of the end. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens. Let's see. I think one of them's worse. Yeah. As it degasses, the rubber basically gets weaker. And in fairness to both this compound and every other compound that passes through the doors, it's a workshop. There's power tools in here. For those who aren't aware, power tools generate ozone. Ozone will break down tires. Tires just sitting up above out of camera on the tire rack run the same risk of cracking and falling apart. That said, this isn't an outright defense. Like, look at this deep woods, long since discontinued. Look how nice it looks on the sidewalls. It's perfect, right? Well, I mean, it isn't. Because there is where the line of separation begins to form. These are, in newer compounds, by and large, tires are here for a good time, not for a long time. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. R35, this, I can tell, but it's got an airsoft BB stuck in it. I can tell by the feel of this that this is the pre-S1. This is the RTR compound. They will last a long time. J-Concept's green is better than average. Proline G8, despite not being as soft as X2SS, gasses out and meets its end at about the same rate of speed. Predator is a little quicker. I would say red, kind of right in the middle. Vanquish red, probably around there with J-Concepts. On these 3D printed, we're at, they're supposed to be 118. I would call it between 119 and 120, somewhere around there. They stand a little tall. That could be the insert. Could be a narrower insert pushing them up high. 48. 118 by 48, that's pretty much a Class 2 tire. It's right in the heart of it. As I said, these are wide offset, so it's probably going to assist the self-righting a little bit, because they stick up past the fenders. As long as you're not overly wide and it messes up your flip angle, they should do pretty well. The Baja Claw is one of my all-time favorites. It is the tire that, despite it being the Mickey Thompson Baja Claw TTC, I never once considered this to be a scale tire. It doesn't occur to me that way. Scale tires look like this. Right? Yokohama's Trail Grapplers, Falcon Wild Peaks, they all, if you put them all in a row, they're all just variations on a theme. That is not the case with the Baja Claw. Maximum chevroning. They have a fairly soft 3D printed insert, not a hyper soft 3D printed insert. Their day-to-day vehicle is a rig by the name of the Tranquish, who has his VS410 chassis with the full VFD twin gearbox, but also has TRX4 axles with lockers in it. So he's loaded with, he's got 5 servos in him. He's like 8.5 pounds just because of the mass of material inside of him. Our boy Baseline, the everyday testing guy, is nowhere near that kind of weight. He's much lighter. He's much more typical. Between 5.5 and 6 pounds is where he sits. He is essentially a stock Enduro SE. Same wheelbase, same skid placement. The links have been replaced. The plastic links have been replaced. He is the veritable ship of Theseus, where nearly everything has been replaced because it's just worn out. That's like his 4th axle housing in the front. We finally had to go to a full aluminum trail axle housing because he kept stripping them out and breaking them. As Baseline sits today, he's got somewhere around 1,000 hours of use on him, and 1,000 hours of use makes itself evident in spots like, look at, that's from the tire at full lock trying to cut its way through the link. The front links are more D-shaped than they are round. It's just, I mean, there's little to no details left. He just tests parts all the time, primarily tires, and he's going to do the Redux on these because he's never been fitted with them. I think at this width of wheel, I think we might get a little bit in the way of angry Lexan noises, but I don't think that they will impede the progress of the tire. What will be interesting to see is Tranquish hasn't run since his last competitive outing, which was some time ago. So it will be interesting to see if we rip, tear, or shred one of these tires. These are the risks with the Redux. Primarily, a tire test is a tire comes in, gets cut out of the bag, gets ventilated. We do the spiel. We mount them up on a wheel. We take them out and we do the thing. But the tire test for this morning, I wasted probably 25 minutes trying to get one tire to mount. Just one. And I've mounted a couple tires. Just a couple. I probably on average mount, I would say over 500 sets of tires annually, and could not get them to go on the wheel. Not with the included insert. They would not fit. These were already pre-mounted. They were already ready to go. And as I said, they were the third choice. Second choice was supposed to be the Redux of the Landmine, J-Concepts Landmine, which are, in case I forget to mention this after I have to do the work, these are fixed offset and the pocket is very deep. They won't mount on Baseline. They bottom all the way out on his axles and he can't move. These were the very first set of J-Concepts tires that I ever bought, and they are just, okay, you see right there on the edge. We're getting a little there, and we're getting a little. So these are older than these, and more feather on them as well. But I would say that these have exhibited a little, there's definitely less gassing out going on with the J-Concepts Green versus the X2SS. I still love X2SS. I'll drive any tire in X2SS compound because they tend to be really sticky. It'll be interesting. These have been run at Mavericks, and then before that, I don't even remember. I don't even remember. That's why it's a Redux, because it's a refresher for all of us. It is running these tires through the current tire test protocol, and that is what we are going to do. The usual 10 stations. We'll get the scores. We will see where these land on the leaderboard. I'm kind of curious. I was running down the list. I was doing my little edits on the list and erasing the tires from the list that have already been tested, and it's still a pretty long Redux list. So we'll get to this one. We'll get the Baja Claw TTCs out of the way. Probably a good idea to get them out of the way, as they're either going to have to be replaced with new Baja Claws or replaced completely, most likely sooner rather than later, because one of these, I don't know if we can see it while it's mounted, one of these is really going away on the inside. This one. I just caught a glimpse of it as I was mounting it. Yeah, that's insert. That's insert. So I mounted on the front. They tend to take a little bit less abuse than the rear. So will the 20-plus month old RC4WD drive Mickey Thompson Baja Claw TTC in X2SS compound make it through this Redux, or are we going to, what do they call it when you tear your finger off? Deglove. Are we going to deglove a tire? Let's hope not. Let's hope that we see something pretty good. So this is an experience reasonably unique in Quickviews and or Reduxes, one in which I'm not particularly worried about how this thing is going to do performance-wise, but I'm kind of worried about how it's going to do physically. I mean, it's X2SS. Even if it's knackered X2SS, it's still X2SS. What's our turning circle look like on the big wides? He can pull it through. We are going to experience some, what might to some be atypical stability. Watching him on the drive out, we are likely an inch wider, 25 millimeters or so wider. So where that translates is we get right here, we go for the shuttle, but we're so wide. The passenger front is not where I anticipate passenger front to be. Those little pull-ups though, there's this little lip right here. Driver front is right on basically a wall. You get to a wall right here. If we have one tire up above the top of it, we can pull over it. X2SS, regardless of what the orientation, size, scale, whatever of the lug, X2SS will pull. That is one of its great strengths. And in the ones that I have tested, this will be a little tough here because it doesn't, this particular ascent doesn't tend to reward an extra wide track. Let's see if we can get the rear end over. Okay, we'll go the inside shot. Let's see, inside here. I want to get the inside of that. The tire most likely to rip. I wanted to get the inside of it over right here. So this is a perfect example of a Redux. We have a used tire on a set of wheels and inserts that are probably not optimized to the vehicle. Certainly the width. But in spite of that, the better a tire is, the less optimized it needs to be for one specific vehicle over another. Does that track? I think it tracks. The Baja Claw is that. They have always exhibited a great level of forward drive, and because they're fully chevroned, like a tractor tire, you can orient yourself a lot more easily. Let's see if I can stay cut in here. How does that turn? I got to the point. I got to the point. Even at that width. Yeah, they're very grippy, and a perfect combination of the non-optimization and then so much grip. He runs canyon trails all day. These grip more than canyon trails. So when presented with that level of grip, you do dumb stuff and you end up upside down a lot. So I will use that as explanation and excuse. I'm gonna fall off of stuff and flip over a lot because a little bumpy. Because the width is not what I'm used to. It's the usual 105, not a deep stand. Oh, right over the top though. That's the thing. X2S, every compound has the optimized tread orientation. And I'm accessing data banks. X2SS really seems to love a chevron. I'm thinking RC4WD Drive Genius, the one I always get right. I get right in getting wrong. Either the Sem Limites or the Sem Frontera. Just looks like a tractor tire. Looks like a mud bog tire. Groundhog 2 looks like a tractor tire. Baja Claw TTC looks like a tractor tire. X2SS is, as I had mentioned earlier, great all around. But it really seems to sing when it's on these. These are not optimized 3D printed inserts for this vehicle. This is not the optimized width for this vehicle. The Baja Claw can punch its way out of it. Let's see if it proves me right or wrong. I want to get the edge of this tire right here. Oh man, it just, those bars, if it were a lugged tire, if you replace this with something with a more traditional lug, it's not going to work as good. This is like a bar tire that isn't. Because, okay, say you're entered in some sort of either semi-competitive or fully competitive environment. Then let's take this imagined scenario a step further and say that it's one of those scenarios where you have to run a quote-unquote scale tire. A tire that must have a 1-1 counterpart. The Baja Claw is cheating. It's cheating. It's like taking a rupture to a Wild Peak fight. It really is. It's not accidental that this is my favorite RC four-wheel drive tire. Has been. It's the first one I ever bought too, which is kind of a punch, really. Let's see. Anything. Lift it. How high will we get? It's not going to fall. That's Redux stuff. 3D printed. Oh yes, full disclosure. Neglected to mention this over at Daphne's. The foams that come in these are full, official, certified and bona fide hot garbage. Throw them away. The hardest foams you've probably ever seen. If your sofa was made out of the foam that RC four-wheel drive makes some of their foams out of, you wouldn't be able to sit on it. You'd have to use it as a workbench. They're that bad. So know that when you go out to buy, and I'm trying to think, is there an example to counter this? I don't think there is. I don't think I've ever brought an X2 SS compound tire home and not had to just throw the foams away. So treat the price point as foams not included. I'm really starting to appreciate manufacturers that are just leaning into it. Extreme Route is the first one that pops to mind. They just don't even bother. Foams not included. Great. I don't know if you can buy a single tire from Deluxe that has a foam. So, yeah, Baseline has got a lot of steering angle. Even at the width of these, they provide enough grip that we just go. Let's get real low. I saw it trying to lift the front end. That passenger rear is just off the ground. But the shape of this tire wants to pull you forward. It perfectly lined up. There's no worry. It is stellar side hill performance to the point where we're getting overstable at this width. This is way wider than I would run this axle on this configuration. An SE should not be this wide. So at this wide, he has so much stability. He can't roll, he just slides. So all those little moments where you saw, can we back it through, or are we gonna roll it out? No, we can back it through, I think. You would see instances, like right there. What did I have to do to get him to roll out? So you'll get these moments where you'll see the vehicle just slide. It is being overwhelmed by, right there. Nope, there was another little one. It can't roll. It's just going to release energy. So that is part the tire, part the insert, but mostly the width. We are over wide, so we're genuinely compromising some other abilities. That total available grip slider has moved too much into the stability range. This should be on a standard offset wheel, but we just counter for it. And the Baja Claw can make up for both weaknesses in the setup, weaknesses in incorrectly selected componentry, and more often than not, weaknesses in the ability of the driver. So I can say with ease that the Baja Claw is my favorite RC four-wheel drive tire. This is that exchange. We could pull this over right here. I often talk, the slower you can pull the ledge that front tire is clearing right there. That ledge, the slower you pull that ledge, the better you're doing it. There's a reason the Baja Claw can't do it right now. We're too wide. We're just too wide. So it's putting the tires in an orientation that can't do it. Well, what if we cut more this way? Are we then too wide? No, then we're not too wide at all. That was too easy. That was too far left, made it too easy. Let's correct this out. Come down. They descend phenomenally. There's zero added weight to those wheels. The inserts are very light. Turn circle is still really tight. Let's see how close we get to the L. If you're gonna run this wide, you gotta learn to work the width. You gotta know where you're gonna have to put the tires. Width is an advantage right up until it isn't. And I want you to notice something. Mentally, take yourself back. We're barely talking about the tire because the Baja Claw is so predictable. There's so much chevron to it that when I change this attitude right here, I know exactly where it's gonna go. Exactly. Are we gonna fall in the bucket? No, we're not gonna fall in the bucket. We're gonna tip over instead. Then we're gonna straighten it back out. It is a top tier phenomenon in the realm of self-righting. And we don't just mean self-righting in the cyclone it out in the dirt type of way of self-righting. I mean, when we popped it back over, the tire has so much drive, forward, rear, side bite, that when you get yourself flopped over, you just punch back out of it. Get that tire up over there, exactly where you want to place it. When front and rear tires are operating independently of one another, it doesn't even matter. There's so much grip because of the collaboration between compound and lug orientation that one tire. I've tested, okay, I don't have anything specific for you. I can't off the top of my head think of a crappy Amazon tire. But there have been some crappy Amazon tires that I've tested where one of these has as much grip as 4 of those. Not hyperbolically, just as an analytical statement. And we're really only just now starting to get into the heart of the songbook of the Baja Claw. We're getting into the maneuverability stuff. That shoulder lug is cheat codes. And, well, the whole tire is a cheat code. Even amongst other X2 SS tires. When you feel like you're almost running out of control, you're really not. A lot of time it's point and shoot. I like to take the other cut on the way back though. Over that, sure, why not? The maneuverability is way up there. And it is that lug orientation. I don't know if it ever actively occurred to me. Like I was thinking about it a little bit. But it never occurred to me, maybe until today, maybe until seeing Baseline wear these shoes. The Baja Claw is a scale tire that is also a bar tire. And bar tires often punch way above their weight. And this one definitely does that. Insert selection is not going to be hypercritical, but dude, I didn't realize I was that far over. Again, there's the width. Now we got to hit the other one. So we'll just drive up backwards and get it. There we go. Oh, here's the free one. It wasn't, you know, it was a bad placement. I expected more magic in the self-right. I used to be sure to always return the golf balls to their pedestals for the gates, and then finally realized that it's the squirrels who are of, how do we phrase this? Limited cognitive capacity. I don't know if they're trying to eat them. I don't know what they're doing, but the ground squirrels come over and knock the golf balls off the pedestals all the time. I was like, is it wind? Is it rain? Is it people? Am I doing it and forgetting it? No, it's the squirrels. I also you can, not in this particular location, but in other parts of the course, you'll see, I bought these Amazon plastic boxwoods, tiny little boxwood trees, stand about 8 inches tall. And I stuck them all over the course, and then the squirrels came and ate all the leaves off of them. So all that remains are little green wires sticking out of the ground, which are, like, a lot of them are concreted in, so I can't even get rid of the green wires. Thank you, squirrels. Thank you for being really, really stupid. How steep do we have to get before it'll pull it, or before it won't pull it? Okay, that's belly up, so we go a little. See, okay, watch that end get high. Watch it try to get out of shape. Okay, that was, okay, we got a straight bump it. The 3D that are in there make a very small rise. Can we donkey? Yeah, sure. There's still a decent amount of energy return. The thing of it is, and I've mentioned this about other tires that have particularly high grip levels, you're never going to encounter that because you won't need to. Because a bump for the Baja Claw, yes, you have full bumpers, tends to look like this. Just a little goose of power. And they will hold until gravity betrays them. We can stop right out on the face, just hanging down off the face. And they have enough grip. If your drag brake is there, they won't let you down. I think we can U-turn this right here. We can just go. Worst case scenario, we roll it. Okay, but hey, that's exactly what I meant to do. Steer to the sky, reverto. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It is a tire whose self-righting ability isn't even fully exhibited here on dirt. It's that self-righting. I mean, I don't know if I can actively do it. We'll just try being stupid. So this is a fairly common landing. You just give it a little. This tire is one that you will, let's go for the big roll. Dang it. You will not have to go over and roll your rig over a lot. Particularly if you're running a big slab side body, like the Enduro. Just give it a goose. And if you've forgotten, if I forget to say it, baseline has always and will always run 50% reverse, which makes it more difficult to self-right. If you're running an outrunner or you're running, if I was running competitively a lot, I would be at 75% or 100% reverse because it's easier to self-right if you have more power. Some tires are better at the reverse self-right than the forward. Steer to the ground, goose it, see? Tends to kind of rock, you get some rock through it. The Baja Claw, because of the chevron is pointing the wrong way when you're self-righting because you're upside down. Everything's backwards. It's better at it. So it prefers the reverse self-right. So I would just make it so that I have more throttle available. File that away in a place where you forget where the notes are. Everything just full of leaves. Crispity, crunchity leaves. Oh, we got a little bit, we got 20 minutes of what would definitely classify as precipitation a couple days ago. And it did, I can tell, it packed this in a little because we can just do this. Just walk across the top surface. Transition is pretty good. Is this a tire that will load? Probably. All of the bars are the same height and they're uniform in the spacing to the bar. This is a tire that sits at about, I would say 60-40, 60% lug, 40% not stuff. That's a tire that tends to load up a little more. But that's really only applicable if you have sticky mud. If your mud is really sticky and you're gonna have to go into that sticky mud, this might not be the guy. The Baja Claw TTC is a rock crawling tire. I mean, you see the age rot on it after 20 months. It's not optimal, but it is what it is. Most every tire in the fleet has got a crack here or there on it somewhere. And if you have X2S3, the compound no one asked for, you are not immune from that either. The tires on the Banana are about the same age, and they are Milestar Patagonias, and the only way to get them was to buy them in RC4WD drives X2S3, they're rotten more than these. The inner sidewalls are basically gone on those tires. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Let's see, can we dig it? There we go. There we go. That's okay. We've set the dig. Now, can we get out of it without a reverse? It's that shoulder, man. Like, we dug us some holes over there. Oh, I didn't even think about that before we did those shenanigans. That one with the ripped sidewall is full of dirt now, isn't it? Yeah, we got one tire that's heavier than the rest. That passenger front's got a bunch of dirt in it now. Yeah. Surface transition, they do great. It's that perfect collaboration. Compound, tread shape. X2SS loves bars. I love X2SS. Like, honestly, it is a cheat code tire for limited classes that you have to run scale tires. What is not to like about that? So, while this is inarguably a Reduxian experience, we've got a particular set of wheels, a particular set of inserts. I don't think it's anything that can't be attained. So, the Baja Claw is really good at the things. It has very nearly that surplus of forward drive. It would have a surplus of forward drive if it wasn't matched with the same level of maneuverability. And some people might say, what are you, there's no such thing as too much forward drive. Well, there isn't until there is. Let me illuminate. What can happen is you get into a situation like this and, okay, I'm trying to find a little slip spot like that. And then when we turn, these will grab and pull automatically. There are some tires, like an unmodified stock rupture, can kind of just pivot. Like you've activated dig, it'll just turn. Because it doesn't really have that shoulder to just grab and pull in that instant, so you have to drive to the strength of the rupture. The Baja Claw TTC is equal parts driver's tire and drive without you tire. That you point it and you shoot it. So it's a driver's tire in that it will reward you. When you make a request, it will be like, yeah, don't worry, I got you. But it will also just, I guess to keep our metaphors less mixed, pull like a tractor. Looks like a tractor tire, pulls like a tractor tire. Now, we can get that as wet as we want because it is X2SS, and historically, X2SS shows little to no tractional difference between wet and dry. The only point that we will be able to repeatably create slip is right here pulling over this big stone. We can put ourselves right there and we can slide. We put a small amount of attitude adjustment into it. I just need to get over the top. So we're in between wheelbase effectively. It will allow you to select basically the same line. There's so much dry traction that when we get up here, as long as I get over that white rock, I'm pointing at it aggressively, that white rock that's right in between the wheelbase right there, as long as we get a tire over that, we're gonna pull through it. There is a, look at that. Did I get it stuck? No, not at all. There is a level of predictability that is really on a different level compared to a whole lot of other tires. So in case you were wondering it or asking it, or wondering to ask it, and I hope you would be, you're like, well, what's the number? The number is the number. It is 97.7, which is a really high number. And what I have to do is SpongeBob it. I have to try to clear my mind of everything before we go out on a Redux, because it is impossible, virtually impossible for a Redux not to be influenced. You are thinking of other tires in the same situation. Someone might say, would you pick a Baja Claw over a Tusk? Not for general use, no. I own one set of Baja Claw TTCs. You're looking at them right there. I own too many Tusks to count. There have to be 8, 9 sets in the fleet. The Tusk is overwhelmingly versatile. But as I mentioned, I want to say it's WeRock. Is it the caged buggies that require a 1.9 inch scale tire, like a licensed scale tire? This is the cheatiest tire that there is for that. I don't know if you can find a situation or a terrain where these won't work. They're better. They're just better. They're a 97.7, which in terms of scale tires, they have to be the highest scoring scale tire. I can't see anything scoring above it. I'm trying to think of a scale tire that is going to punch higher than a 97.7, and I'm not coming up with anything. That's a really high score. What that basically is almost nothing but 97s with a couple of 98s sprinkled in, because it will do things like, particularly over at Daphne's. That's dummy. That performance on wet, if you didn't know it was wet, it would also almost be dry. This tire has more grip on wet river stone. Like, look how smooth the rocks are surrounding baseline right now. This thing has more grip on wet rock than some rigs do on dry rock. To X2SS, and particularly to the Baja Claw, it's just like you've rinsed the tires off for them. But no. Above all things. Okay, let's break it down. You're going to go out and you're going to get yourself your set of Baja Claws 1.9 X2SS. The foam is a discardable. It's not good for anything, so you're going to have to buy foams. Cost goes up a little bit. You're going to have to take into consideration, how often am I going to drive these? Because they are going to rot apart on you. Your rot rate might be slower or higher. Mine don't see the sun unless they're out here driving, but they do see ozone. Power tools produce ozone. Ozone breaks down rubber. If your rubber is particularly exotic, they will break down faster. Short of dismounting your tires and storing them in Ziploc bags with a spritz of Simple Green in there, they're going to age out on you. You'll probably get around 2 years out of a set of tires. And honestly, if you look at it from that perspective, you know, when I was heavily into cycling, I was lucky to get 3 months out of a pair of tires. So 2 years out of a set of tires isn't bad. That's not bad at all. Considering all the other wasteful things that we have spent money on, I have definitely spent more money in an average year on auto insurance than I do on all RC stuff. Well, not all of it. Let's just say tires, than all my tires combined. So when a tire dry rots out, I'm trying to be very Elsa about it and let it go, because nothing lasts forever. Nothing is eternal. We're but transient here for a moment, and then we are gone. And the Baja Claw TTC is no different. It will pull hard. And if there is a tire that gets a free pass in that its longevity is traded for just absolute gnarly, it's this. Also, you can run it in limited classes and cheat. So it's got even more going for it. Please, RC4WD Drive, don't stop making X2SS. In fact, make more tires out of it. And whatever you do, don't stop making the Baja Claw. It is my favorite tire. And will these be replaced with another set of Baja Claw TTCs? There's like a 99.5% chance. The chance is over 97.7%. They're just that good. I can't see tusks on him. He's not a tusk guy. No tire is the best at everything. The Baja Claw is mostly very good at all of the rock crawling things, but it's really not good at staying alive. You'll get 2 years. If you get more than 2 years, you're humidoring your tires, I guess. I got too many sets of tires to deal with that kind of stuff. Can we get straight over this one? That's going to get bellied up. Did you see the angle on that universal when I was cutting back there, where for just a second the driver front tire stopped rotating entirely because it was camming through? That's fun. You know what else is fun? Being here with all of y'all. I'd like to thank you so very much for being here with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. In between now and then, I beseech you to one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. I will see you next time here from the canyon with whatever thing we might have to look at next. I'm really anxious to see what those inner sidewalls look like, but not. You know, it's like you've slammed your finger in a car door. You want to look, but you don't want to look. So I hope you had a look here. I loved having a look with you. I will see you next time here. Look at, we get a drive out. That's how grippy the Baja Claws are. We don't even need to end on a still frame.